This is for Tolbert's biology class. This is the Making Babies Lab video that you can go through in order to help you work through the lab that I'm leaving for you. So, this will also help us to iron down the difference between genotype and phenotype. Remember, the phenotype is what it looks like. The genotype is the actual letters, the actual genes. So far, we've been talking about the phenotype, or our observable traits, for every characteristic, like eye color. There are different forms or varieties of that characteristic that you could actually have. You could have blue eyes, green, hazel, brown eyes, and anywhere in between. All of these traits are caused by variations in your genes. Every gene comes in two different forms. We represent these forms by a letter, either a capital letter for dominant or a lowercase for recessive. For example, eye color has a gene that can be a capital B form, brown, or a lowercase b form, non-brown. These different forms of the same allele are called alleles. Remember, alleles are just genes. They're the same. It's basically the same letter. There's just different forms of that letter. So if it's a B, it's either capital or lowercase. They both represent the eye color. So they're both eye color genes, but they're alleles because they are different of the same type of gene. Let's continue. Every individual has two copies of a gene. Okay. Remember, you get two copies. You get one from your mom, and you get one from your dad. Thus, eye color could be two capital B's for two brown alleles, uppercase, lowercase b, one brown allele and one non-brown allele, or two lowercase ones, which would be fully recessive. Remember, we were talking about either being dominant or recessive. This case here, it's homozygous, okay, because they're the same. This case here, heterozygous, because they're different. Now, if they're all capital, they're going to be homozygous dominant. If they're all lowercase, they'll be homozygous recessive. So, let us move on. One dominant allele is dominant. The other is recessive. The dominant allele masks or covers up the other gene. Brown eyes are dominant to blue eyes. If you have a brown allele, your eyes will be brown no matter what the other allele is. Thus, a person with the capital B lowercase b has one brown allele and one non-brown allele, but not a mixture of brown and blue. So, this next one I'm asking you to give me, what is it going to look like? Remember, I'm given letters here. The letters are the genotype. The actual word are the phenotype. So if you're big B, two capital big B's, your eyes will be brown. You should write that down. If it's big B lowercase b, heterozygous situation, your eyes will still be brown. And if both of yours are recessive, your eyes will be non-brown. All right. So now we're going to determine, so for every gene has two alleles or two forms. One that is dominant and one that is recessive. For each of the traits we looked at, there is a dominant and a recessive form of those particular ones. So, look at the table here, and you can follow along. There's the trait. Let's move on to hair color. Hair texture is a little bit different because hair texture is more complicated because curly hair texture is not completely dominant over straight. If you have only one curly allele and one straight allele, you'll end up with wavy hair. This is the case where we're talking about incomplete dominance. That's where one allele is not completely triumphant over the other. It doesn't completely mask the other allele. Let's continue. So, figure out your genotype. So, what's your genotype? Remember, you have 2 copies of every gene. 1 gene comes from each parent. If your phenotype, your observable trait, like eye color, is recessive, lowercase b, then your genotype, which forms the gene that you have, can have 2 recessive allele, 2 lowercase b's. If your phenotype is dominant, if it appears to be dominant, then your genotype will be either dominant, or it could also be heterozygous, in which case it'll be dominant and recessive. In this case, you have a dominant phenotype. Assume that you have 1 dominant and 1 recessive allele. Unless you are for sure there is no relative or grandparents, uncles, aunts, no siblings with the recessive trait. If there is no relative in history with this trait, then you should put down 2 dominant alleles, as in 2 capital B's. So for the most of these, ladies and gentlemen, you're going to be putting down that you have mixed. Okay, remember, the phenotype, you need to tell me what's it going to look like. The genotype, you need to tell me what are the letters. So, brown eyes. Brown eyes, the dominant is the capital letter B, and non-brown eyes, lowercase b's. So, for me, my eyes are actually brown. So, my possible phenotype, should be big B, lowercase b. That's because there might be somebody in my particular family that has something else. I'm not going to fully say I have an entirely homozygous dominant situation unless I am for sure I know that everybody in my family, every one of them, have brown eyes, and some of them don't. Some have hazel, some other colors, things like that. All right, for freckles. So freckles is also, what color will it be? Oh, oops, I actually wrote it in the wrong space. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and write it again. So I'm going to have big B, lowercase b, and that's going to be brown. Freckles. I don't have any freckles at all, so I'm going to say no freckles, none. Okay, so if I have no freckles, that's going to be fully recessive. And I'm sure I have no freckles, fully recessive. Tongue rolling. I cannot roll my tongue, so my phenotype is can't roll. I can't. And the letters of it will be fully recessive. You need to continue this as you go.